Made in Chiasonko enema daily trends at Tifona, Yadamasi said the Dane Dana Moshe na more like Namoshe. Sabri and Sema editi Abekayansa, Yemunra and Semu.
And somewhere, of course, within the new patriotic party regarding Sir Mpenifo and Sake no infirm free among you, Kunima Hons and Samoa. Chelasa Monukunum can once and we now we at me at the Abibum Naturals and go for a bizarre questions. I hold your set. Honorable in Japan, has he left the new patriotic party or still other so and now say we're joining the base movement? Honsem et say now. Reacting to this, one of the top gurus of the NPP or a former chairman at the National Media Commission, NMC, needing any Professor Yao Boadu, I stand to be corrected. Say Mambodi, I stand to be corrected. Now, for Sabro Kasa, Nancy, no, say, or share honorable Canada Pona. Or say, Nioma air cost Nioma is in Nioma or Yeno. Is he doing it out of greed or for the love of the country? Adia or Yeno, or ye because of greed, and answer or ye because of the minor. Ebison for what church and insem, or say between on any honorable Kennedy or in Japan, dear, said the Adam Wintem. Now, Wakasa or said. Inside the NPP, the NPP is not going to tolerate any form of DB. I bet me so ama 2028, or more chances of winning. No, should I say etimi akofo. Now Okasa or Owia TV so and this same way the Etuja or should I say in someone about in Japan or the Etujani Nano or GD say they are driven by greed rather than patriotism. Say no because of greed ahoya enti na oyesa ade no nibre enti na oyesa ade nemu menye se odon man no enti na oyesa ade no say, and then I quote, my problem is this: if he says he loves the party and there are certain things that need to be disclosed, why is he not saying them now instead of waiting until 2027 to review them? Is he doing it out of greed or out of love for the country? As we hear in someone, if you boy naturally say ya kwaje much info respect to in someone or the two. But then the question is, honorable Japan, is he out of the NPP or is part of the NPP? Professor Ibuafo waka ho asem e beje be nya dia boy one dey account on kwa say the honorable Japan in dey let's say I say checking ye pa enye be no. What is your take on this? Honorable Japan, should he still be in the NPP or free my babu? And an NPP or moi a babu monopona and also free moi say ne besia ko e dia monopona ni na manu ha dinche documentation na say na yen ko encourage nchire mu aso someone NPP professor or the atuja
me akompra ho de a time at the end a time the intenti men or not the men fan on yet bibia my brother the a man by 2016 NPP for invite him for real so me no mama case and I church on political communication obia MPs potential MPs all the executive national regional near the adin now president and vice president. And I make sure I must say, look, a crop for me will be our party in one. Me shot. One more I contribute to, but one more casa pet, not to say you're too true. Now I'm saying back here, Katie Hammond. Back here, Kennedy Japan. I'm saying Katie Hammond, or you know, Casa, I could be a Shana Mana Pro. Now, audit him then a good person. Or Casa cry also, or men and no so big. Kennedy Japan there. Or no, on many asema become no aka. If you say asema say a better than Obeka. Unfortunately for me, say no omumi no yin and omuni. Omuni at the end. But me cry no, me say send you almost budget to say I work for do work go draw. Eti Katie the adechi and Katie. Oh me. E wo ko Florida. And as I work for say no I say there. Na say Katie. Ya me kan yi ni. Me say o kasa. We are hot say akola ya so so ne so
pampered child.
Ade. I also do anu don yura engo. Na say ma one example. Sabra mo be common primary sir na party for nem pese obeko. I will be a ma ho no. One city for interview. The way na okasa. Obeka say akola bitri mu da phone ni ade. Enti kasa asem kra o kan na ye asem papa kra no. The way obeka no na mama for kra bufu. Okay. And na you resolve your problem. That 3 days no be friend say I boy for why Kennedy there. Na oti ho say me de onyame ade obeye me. I'm so also onyame a na me friend no. And I'm a friend. The friend na I'm say me dey the aboda e boafo. Jimmy ni kwasia. Nkwasia sam na una so ko na I'm say Kennedy una say me yitum ye Jimmy ni. Na Jimmy ti and our party for friends say me chiram say ye sika say woni pe. Me Jimmy ni ntia. Kika the primary recorder. Na say me recorder na me dey ayeden. O can do me can do. Because han kra faso on dey. School kra won ko bi. That feel na me. Kiki. O say chairman say kwasiafo no na e wa me hota. No dey. E ka journalist e say ayeboafo. Journalist ne akoya wo no sis wo media foundation for Ibrahim Debbie Isremuddin Manase Azure the Kajana and that's a Manase Krasem Crams Michirana. It no come, that's not the point. Also, many journalists are never home, also a useless person. And I say me or come a matty say or the car 40 about or the bread party. And they are not can't. I'm so only. I dear message yes, I'm a car 40 no found or got to move. Hey, because men or many NPP and I mean NDC. It is a car. So they brought not me make them a combe fast from Becassa. A man to the person was in the boy for any car offering in Uncle Whip. No problem, Franco. 80 to any 2 weeks and Uncle catch a lot or say, Assam. I'm sorry, was a and I'm so say. Oh, my dear American Kennedy. Oh, yeah, Miss Omokachi. No, so mammy. Oh, said the American say, oh, him, Cassandra, Uncle Kama, Abekam. Ghana ma come who boom say, among kind say, a man in us, and more be on top about Emma NPP. Yes, because MP Charlotte say, electoral commission, so I saw the two knock on you post. Is there a coffee? I can't reach a mama party, if I'm mama party, and whatever so creative problem. 80 or no, men on me problem, they say, or say, or dog Ghana mine. And never be a cost for a I don't want no train 2027 as I work. Okay. And now, man, I don't know, any Britain or and now say, a man who don't know, yes, I did. Okay. Because I bring it, may be sour. Say, I'm a member of the Bangua manifesto idea on communication. Me a member. Because I'm sent you, bring it. Oh, yeah, on medical campaign. And for so ben pan no munya obaka ka adipa pani nyina no abeka sam bako pe no asem na obia nyina ko gyina abronye ede so nti omdo machi ede mi bi sam he sabra mi bi sam se Kennedy yapo a one Dr. Bewumi anate no and for so ben pan na wo so because on say 2024 Kennedy NDC didn't hear campaign and some awaka ede bi pan no beka I also bibi so no I mean to say near a massive maconta kind the point is say yes or party man until I no be no say party and join because you money of ma ye beka What you say? One council so you call meeting there, you can't would one member near to about democracy. You do a year about a do. That do on a can. What say if you are con, what's on Timmy and what's when you have few one. Now, of course, I will can't near besides, and I call meeting if you see. Say, oh, the other near the buyer, dear. And yet, I would your fear. Yet, Obia, you know, my young and I jet tomorrow. And no, dear, and your man, not democracy, no tears, yes. What you say? It's a mason being a deal. So, Omoyan a deal, and our party now. If a party be me a yes, have baby, young fan and mara, and to two. Now, oh, your name is so young. Now, I shall say, say, not can also a man will be so aircraft because I also know can say. I bring you no near the idea I knew a man few her, or who her or didn't hold the car, maybe what. No one else, you and few her. A bad in the bidding so a drum, Abba, Abeka. Sir, oh, join a party now. Oh, Gideon party, no more. I saw my party, no, a year age. What's the man I can say, UK, send a party, internal party, at the near the idea. I no correct, but I'm more crown or more fast. I'm more and work with you and the deal be at time. Then I'm more can and then I wire and yano. And no Modeka because showdown. A prime minister, I'm your say showdown. Actually, it was easy. Leader Ben and I will not grow for Nama. We both far to say, yeah, Oma, yes, sir, Oma, come on down crowd. When you're more crowd, but to more there. Now, leadership ability and not an on a dear. So, no, I got a whole lucky leadership idea. And now, said they, a woman say, assemble, but I say beyond yeka and I say quite obefasa obeka. Say say ye okwa himfia na wo ka asema. Nye say wujina street so asem na wo ka. O de besi mu bia wo kokko so asem bia na waka. Me de say na make no. Party no na aye na mra. Na omo na omunim. Say omfi say o we de ye ne kasa na say we de enyensi ana say if you my bad. That threat in the empty threat. Empty threat. Say mo try e do ha ni e dem pa no ba be ka. At the fofra e be shaky. Ghana for senior ye can. The only say a party for none. Or me be a time this one no mo video mo ye. Na near enra omo ese enye no na ene omo de ye adwuma. Eno no me problem. Say ye nyini ewo ade na ye no. So, because no cranny no. The bizarre was saying to me, I am boafro. Let us say, dear auntie, because the more. You say, I am this year. It's your own to send for was sent him. The best said it by your boss ever said. Oh, a tell beer to send me up a look in. On your tribalistic, on your ethnic, dear. But what do you be saying? Say, I then I shall see region quan. And I said, say, and yes, you mukran cramudi a dozen. I will DC near the Adentia. And it's not a young quan if faces are there. What's your say? Send us a Sunday and the other young uncle Auntie Kuvia Santibisu or Tamale, said Tamale, district chief executive or the Kuvia Santi. No, I mean, it I cannot make a friend breaking news. You see, and not the do baby, I am not a yakakra. I said, ye Ghana for ye back. What I say? Ye back. And so do baby no bisa one, no bisa one, no bisa one. Nay back because in the previous NDC administration, Obekaya GJA Awards night, or 2 for the Kasai. Emma Okan say, Obia Obayana say, Obeka Santifuache, and also Obek time woman on Taho. Enye hwa emma sa ade no emma e de na ebe provoke no ama na ye sa no ka se mo asante se mu hia sa comment no o ti ase enti ye panka bom e nyina ye Ghana for so do be dia I was say hwi ni mate ye asema okay me kai Bezidi. I'm so Bezidi free Upper West. Upper West.
There is the question of land administration and planning and engineering. So, and there have been many cases of people who built in waterways. Some actually authorized to build huge mansions in waterways, and there are many, many examples. And so that is part of the problem. And indeed, the other part of the problem are stories of people who actually fill in, lakes and so on, which are meant to take water in situations like this, fill lakes with concrete and build structures on them and so on. There's a question of law enforcement, and so on. And then some people have raised the question of discipline. People pouring rubbish into gutters and so on. My problem with that kind of talk is simply that we are not talking on the basis of empirical evidence. Right. Seeing 5-10 people pouring rubbish into gutters, and that becomes the reason, why we are where we are. How much rubbish is dumped into gutters? How much? You understand? How does that affect, flooding and so on? But then I don't see any empirical study. All I see are anecdotes and so on, which simply in situations like this are not very helpful, for us. Truth of the matter is that hundreds of thousands of people have been affected by this flooding. Hundreds of thousands of people. And I know that this is not the first time. I recall in the late 1970s, there was a similar flooding. And the politicians at that time, revolutionary politicians at that time, went to visit the affected people in canoes. So wearing Wellington boots and diving suits. So it didn't solve the problem. I remember the flooding that led to the huge fire outbreak around Kwame Nkrumah circle and the consequences and so on. Huge consequences, for all of us. The authorities were not able to resolve the problem then. Of course, we know about flooding in many parts of the country. In the lower, Akosombo area, only a couple of years ago, we saw massive flooding, which led to very, very terrible consequences for all of us. We've seen flooding in the Tono area directly as a result of the spillage of water from a dam in Burkina Faso. So flooding has been with us for a very, very long time. Now this morning, you have read a story. It says that the World Bank is not happy about the implementation of a measure for which we secured, funding. And the rate of implementation is described almost as lackluster, very, very low level of implementation. So this is a problem which has been with us. If you trace the performance of the various governments we've had over the last 30 years or more, all of the performance has been most abysmal. The Odo River, the Odo is supposed to take in a lot of the water which gets spilled and which causes all of these troubles and fires and so on. He has plans for distilling the Odo and making it a waterway, for urban transportation and so on. These plans have existed for more than 50 years. They've never been implemented. So part of the reason why we have this is the lack of commitment by various governments to resolve the problem. And we have the problem now. Now, yesterday we were told that the president has directed that 350 million cedis should be released for emergency relief from the contingency fund. Now, this one I was trying to do the mathematics, and dependent on the numbers that you use. In fact, if you're most